Hi! Today I'm going to be reviewing Welcome to Night Vale by Joseph Fink and Jeffrey Cranor. And since this is an ARC copy, I'm not going to be able to read any parts of the book out loud to you or any kind of spoilers or anything like that. But what I can tell you is that the book follows Jackie Fierro, who's been the 19-year-old pawn shop owner at Night Vale for the past several decades. And also Night Vale's PTA treasurer, Diane Creighton, and her son Josh, who is moody, like most teenagers, but also a shapeshifter, unlike most teenagers. Both characters have this kind of half-remembered, odd, even for Night Vale odd, interaction with a man in a tan jacket. And apparently no one in the town remembers him, what he looks like, or his name even, nothing. But the two characters keep coming back to the same phrase, King City. And that is really their only clue as to who this guy is and what he wants. And Jackie and Diane have to work together to figure out this mystery. It's a contemporary fantasy, and in classic Night Vale fashion, it is both funny and dark. Now, I'm a fan of the Night Vale podcast, obviously, so I was really excited to hear that the creators were releasing a book. But I was also a little bit worried about how it would come across in written format. But then I read this and I can't even think of why I would be worried at all. It's written very simply, but there are a lot of profound statements throughout it. It's very casual about being insightful, which is just classic Night Vale. It was also cool to read it from different perspectives. You get to meet characters that are kind of only mentioned in passing, but of course you run into your favorites like Carlos, the sexy scientist, and old woman Josie. An important thing to mention though is that you don't need to know anything about the podcast to read this book. It is open to everyone. I mean, if you're not familiar with Night Vale, you might be a little caught off guard with how weird it is, but you'll learn. Just stop asking questions and roll with it. I also found it to be kind of similar to the podcast in that, like, there's a little bit of a lull towards the, like, in the middle, but then all of a sudden it just comes back and you're like, wait, what? And I found that to be very true to the experience of the podcast. It is really easy to immerse yourself in this book. That's one of the things I absolutely loved about it. And you kind of just learn to go with certain things. Like, I can't give you anything specific, but you'll read something really outlandishly weird and you'll just start to go, well, of course, it's Night Vale. A review of the Night Vale project by Kate Leff, I believe, who is one of the collaborators on Night Vale, said that it is like Stephen King and Neil Gaiman started building a town in The Sims and just left it there for years. Which I think is just a perfect description of Night Vale in general, but also of the book, because it is very similar to Stephen King and Neil Gaiman. So if you like either of those authors, you definitely need to pick up this book. Welcome to Night Vale will also be available as an audiobook, which I am really looking forward to, because another really cool thing about the book is that the chapters are split up by original broadcasts by Cecil Palmer. And I think that that's just a really cool feature for the book as well as an audiobook, because that's the format that fans of this town are already familiar with. If you like fantasy, if you like a bit of strange fiction, this needs to be the next book you read. It comes out October 20th. Honestly, just do yourself a favor, go pick up this book and support the creators who made this awesome town. It's a quick read. I think it only took me about 2 days altogether to finish. It's really funny and ultimately it's a really great story. 5 out of 5 stars. I cannot wait to get an official copy. This has been a Night Vale book review, and now the weather.